All right, we
Maybe
are
not.
on.
Hold on a second.
The rest of us are on. Oh, uh,
Wow, that was a smooth start.
yeah. All right, so here we go for real. He's on my other computer and needed a password to get on
There we go.
because it timed out.
That's better.
All right, so here we go. This is a show of hands hangout number 3, I believe, and we've got returning guests. Uh, so I'm gonna have you introduce yourself again with your name or well, with who you are on the app, what you'd like us to call you, whether it's your name or Mr. T or whatever you want to be called. And I'll ask you a couple of quick questions to answer, and then we'll move on from there. So why don't we start with Kyle?
Okay. Well, my first name's Kyle. My name on the app is Mr. Lucchese, obviously, my last name. Uh, I'm from New York, and anything else?
Okay. Pizza or tacos?
Uh, I'm a very moody eater, so I'd have to tell you, at this moment, I want a taco,
Okay.
but I like
Um, delivery or takeout?
takeout because delivery takes too long. Yeah,
Okay. Inside or outside?
situational. Uh, inside, I guess, because outside climate stuff.
Okay. Climate stuff. And steaks or burgers? Again, you're. Let's go instead with. Uh,
I was gonna say you take a Kobe beef steak and you turn it into a burger, and then you have like the best burger ever. So
you could.
you get the best of both.
All
That
right.
might be cheating.
I think it's okay.
It's a technicality, so I'm good.
All right, Cole, you're up.
Alright, I'm Cole12 on the app. You can just call me Cole. That's my first name. So, and I'm from Pennsylvania. No, I just like the number 12. It doesn't mean anything to me actually, which is kind of bizarre.
Um, I'm the same. I put a number after my username, and it was a number.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do that when I create usernames. I just put random numbers sometimes.
Yeah.
But 12, I've stuck with that a lot. I don't know.
I'm not actually 5, believe it or not. Um, all right, so Cole, if you could spend one day with Abraham Lincoln, would it be a Tuesday or Thursday?
What? Thursday, I guess.
Uh, about Lord of the Rings or Star Wars?
Lord of the Rings.
That was a quick answer. Day or night?
Night.
Surf or turf?
Definitely turf. I'm not a seafood guy.
Really? And um, books or movies?
Movies. Gotta go with movies. I'm not a big reader either.
Okay. I
But I'm a
wonder if
movie
there's a link there.
Between what?
Reading and seafood consumption.
That would be a good, I don't know.
I like seafood and I read a lot. All right. Last one. I don't know what you would want to be called.
Oh, me?
Yep.
Call me Mr. Williams, I guess. It's kind of fun.
Okay, Mr. Williams.
I was going to call you Bilbo Baggins, but
Now, honestly, call me whatever you want. But I guess I'm supposed to introduce this username. It's Crazy Hooch. I happen to like Scrubs, so figured that would work.
And then, Mr. Williams. Would you rather go to bed early and wake up early, or go to bed late and wake up late?
Surprisingly, go to bed early and wake up early, but it's probably more likely just go to bed late and wake up early. I don't really sleep that much. I wish I slept more, but I don't.
Country or rap?
Rap.
Yay! Thumbs up.
Simpsons or Family Guy?
uh, uh, Simpsons.
And yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Some would you rathers. Let's see. I guess for everyone, the first one, would you rather play a pro sport or own a pro sports team? Let's start with Kyle.
own a pro sports team, because in order to own a pro sports team, you'd have to be uber duper wealthy, and then you could go to all the games, and you don't have to get injured in the process.
That's true. That's true. Cole?
Magic Johnson.
Yeah, gotta go with the same. I have no desire to be a pro sports player. It seems kind of dangerous. I mean, especially if we're talking football.
Oh, you can pick the sport.
Yeah, I'll still go with the owner.
You could play baseball and get paid to do almost nothing.
And okay, good. I lost the window. Sorry. And Mr. Williams, play pro sport or own team.
I don't know. I kind of want to cheat and say Magic Johnson. Be a pro athlete and own a pro team, but I would say play a pro sport because it's a lot of fun being a part of a team. But there's also the little back of my mind that said I would like to own a pro team. But I'm going to say play a pro sport.
Okay.
What sport would you play?
Yeah.
Hockey.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of dangerous.
Childhood dream. I was a big Red Wings fan growing up, and watching Steve Yzerman when I was like, I don't know, young enough. He was an idol. It's just one of those things I wanted to do.
Okay.
Which pro sport would you own a team for the other two?
I'll say basketball.
Okay. Why basketball?
I don't know. I think it's the most interesting to watch. Football, not that into that.
I could get behind basketball. What about you, Kyle? Oh, I said I could get behind basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool game.
It is.
Do we get to pick the sports team that we own?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well,
Badminton.
actually, I was thinking I would do something like racquetball. No. Well, the valuable teams, the top three are soccer teams. But I don't like soccer.
Boo.
And then there's the Yankees. But then there's so much drama.
There is.
But then you've got to be a Yankees fan.
I am a Yankees fan.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
You
that.
know what? Yeah, baseball. Baseball, because then I'd be in New York. So.
No offense to Yankees fans, but yeah.
I think I'm completely with Cole on this. I would definitely be about owning a basketball team.
Which basketball team?
Oh, that's harder. That's a lot harder.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea.
Clippers.
I like, yeah, I think that's available enough. No,
Yeah, right.
I like the city of Boston, but I'm not a Celtics fan.
Like
Good.
like downtown Boston or like outskirts Boston.
I don't know if too many people like the outskirts of Boston, but
Yeah, Boston's an awesome
The
city.
outskirts of Boston? Oh,
I mean, depends on how far out you go. There's still, I mean, go far enough to get to MIT.
But yeah, I mean that's about where I am. I wouldn't mind doing a basketball team, but it would be pretty much based on location, maybe overseas.
So wait, if it's based on location, why would it be Boston? That's like you're still gonna get all the crap weather half the year, if not more.
I'm okay with weather.
I'd pick Southern California. Why not? Steady weather, hot, not too humid, but
I like snow. Would you rather die peacefully in your sleep or go out in a blaze of glory? Start with Cole on this one.
Definitely sleep. No pain for me.
Okay. Mr. Williams.
oh, blaze of glory. Just skydive into a concert. How about that? Land right on stage as the concert's ending with the pyrotechnics going off. Or
I gotta admit, that would look pretty awesome.
It would. Remind me not to go to that concert. Though.
it'd be memorable.
I feel bad for the cleanup crew.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, who says you have to clean it up? I don't know. Blaze of Glory sounds like a lot of fun. Although I am a donor, so that would probably not be too good for the people receiving organs. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't want to smash once.
How about you, Kyle? Blaze of glory or in your sleep?
In my sleep? I don't know why. I really don't care either way because I'm dead. But
Good point.
I think the way in which I die would, like, in the process of dying, I'd probably be kind of upset that I'm whatever the hell the other situation was. So, yeah, I'll go with sleeping.
Okay. Would you rather?
How about you? You have to answer your own question.
Yeah, me.
You know, a lot of these questions are hard for me to answer because my answer is based completely on having kids.
Nah.
So,
Just get rid of the kids. It's easy.
well, I mean, for me, it's like I don't want to put my kids through whatever my blaze of glory would be.
What
And it
if
would
you're
be
in the
putting them
middle
through,
of an orgy
and they're
you
young,
die?
so it would actually be putting them through that. But so in that respect, I wouldn't mind saying in my sleep. But if we're talking, I don't have a wife and kids, if I'm by myself, whatever, then yeah, I'd probably try and skydive into the ocean.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, kind of combine things.
Skydive into the ocean into a shark's mouth.
I don't
That's
need
out
the
of
shark.
concert.
Come on, you gotta make it into something. There's gotta be a target. The ocean's kind of big.
It is. I'm okay with that.
I feel like having a target's a good idea.
I do. I'm gonna hit it. It's the ocean.
Good point.
Would you rather live at an airport? You would be able to fly, but you would have to stay within airports, or live at sea. I will start with Mr. Williams on this one.
Well, when you say stay within airports, like when you're allowed to fly, you're only allowed to fly over top of the airport.
I didn't necessarily have that in mind, but if you want to limit yourself, no,
I
you
don't.
you can fly between airports, but you have to stay at airports or in transit between them.
Then I would fly, because I mean you can always fly to an island. There's airports on islands, or maybe an aircraft carrier, whatever. But I would say fly.
Okay. Cole.
When you say life at sea, do you mean like on a cruise ship?
I didn't necessarily. I was thinking something more along the lines of houseboat, but I'll give you that. Yeah.
Then
So,
I'll go with the sea. If I can like live 24/7 on a cruise ship or something like that, then I gotta go with that.
like Carnival cruise ship, where it's not even a cruise ship; it's just basically a floating island.
I don't even care. Even a carnival ship, that's fine. The food, the free buffets, they're awesome. I mean, that would be great. I could do that.
And then Kyle. I'm sorry, I thought I heard something.
I would live at sea, and since you said a houseboat, and I'll take, Bill Gates' houseboat, and say a yacht. So that'll work, right?
That's fair. And I
But
think
can you ever go into ports?
I guess you could pull up to the port, but you can't
just can't
get
get
off the boat.
Yeah, because you're still on water. So that works. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. I agree with you. I'm about living at sea. I think that'd be just fine. Eh, I think there's a certain amount of peace that would come with that. I think airports are very hectic places, and assuming you could have some kind of an idea of who would be around at sea, then that could be just fine. I think I could handle that pretty well. I also like the idea of just being able to choose exactly where I'm going at any given time and not be limited by
Land.
Yeah, I don't know.
First few months would be rough before you got, used to the seasickness and everything.
That's true. That's
I
true.
don't get seasick.
There's
Really?
there's a
Well,
joke
yeah.
my wife tells. There's a joke my wife tells. What's a pirate's favorite letter?
R.
A lot of people think that, but his first love be the sea.
That's good. I like that.
You are gifted a superpower. You can pick flight or invisibility. Kyle, you first.
How fast can you fly? And for how long?
You can fly. You can fly pretty well. You can fly fast enough, and
Like Superman speed?
we'll say subsonic.
Okay. Infinite amount of time?
Um, maybe not an infinite amount of time. Maybe with an endurance type of thing. I'm sorry. It sounds like one of my kids is up. I'll be just a second.
Okay.
Um, so flight or invisibility for everyone.
Uh, you guys first. I have to think about this.
Cole, take it away.
I would go with flight. That would be, I mean, assuming I didn't hear everything he said, but assuming you could, go at, a pretty fast speed and be able to get anywhere around the world whenever you want, yeah, that'd be awesome.
I don't know. There's something to be said about invisibility. Like not in the creepy way, Kyle. I see you snickering.
Whoa! Hey!
But I mean, like being
You ever want to
invisible,
rob a
like
bank?
it's kind of like you never. Yeah, I mean, you could rob a bank. You could. Well, I mean, I'm wondering if there's invisibility from heat sensors as well. I don't know. I would say fly. I'd still say fly. I think being able to travel without a car would be kind of nice.
Yeah, you could, go to a different country every weekend. That'd be great.
Right. Or you'd probably be pretty good at basketball. I wonder if they'd call it traveling. You're not necessarily touching the ground. It's like you're just jumping for an extended period of time. Be a pretty good receiver.
You'd be pretty good
Yeah.
at pretty much every sport.
I don't know. I think hockey might have its disadvantages. Maybe even soccer. I mean, you kind of need the ball, and you can't really pick it up.
You could do pretty well at volleyball.
Yeah, I guess.
Except all the roles have to do with, being on the ground.
Yeah. I guess. But I mean, if I was stuck with invisibility, I wouldn't mind it.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Right. What are the other advantages besides robbing a bank?
Espionage?
Spy, okay. The I can't really think of many others.
Mind if I ask, would you rather?
Sure, go for it.
Would you rather live one 1,000-year life or 10 100-year lives?
You mean at like different times in history? Like I could live like.
It's a
What do you mean?
really open question. So it doesn't say that you have to be reborn instantly.
Hmm.
That's tough. If I
Who won?
like,
Assume that you have to start all of your knowledge over. So pretty much you have to go through high school and everything else 12 times.
Do you?
then
Well,
I'll go
I
with
guess
the
you
one
probably.
1,000.
I'm betting you're saying. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how my body would be holding up at 500 years old. I mean, I'm. I'm not that old, and I've already had 4 surgeries, so
That's pretty cool.
I would probably say the 100-year lives.
Yeah, after we brought that up, I'm gonna have to go with the same because.
What if
You
you
know.
were in guaranteed good health for that 1,000 years?
How would you
Yeah.
look?
Mm.
How would you look? If I would look like I was like in my mid-20s for the entire 1,000 years, after I aged to whatever, then I'd go with that. But otherwise, I'll have to go with the 1,000-100-year lives.
I kind of like the idea of the 1,000-100-year lives and being able to remember all of them.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And choose what time period you live in.
Well, because you get to experience different generations, and you get to not only that, but you also I guess, you get to experience the things that you remember experiencing again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I remember when I was like 6 and 7 and not having a care in the world, watching just cartoons and playing video games, or hanging out, camping, and telling ghost stories, stuff like that. And those were the only worries that I had. But then again, I also like where I'm right now. So I mean, I like that idea of being able to relive all of those and being able to get those back. Whereas if you're in the 1,000-year life, it's just 1,000 years of what's going to happen next, and what, like, remembering. Oh, I wish I could go back there. Like, I mean, yeah, you have your peace in the moment, but 1,000 years is one long stretch. I feel like the 100 years over. It's kind of a nice idea.
Plus, you could live 10 different lives in that.
Right.
Like, you could have one career set in this, and then
10 different chances to make the same mistakes in different ways.
I asked the question, would you rather live one 1,000-year life or 10 100-year lives?
Oh man. Really neither. Man.
Neither.
There's not.
That's a good answer.
You just want to live one lame life,
Well,
no matter how.
no. I'm saying
how
I'm not
great
sure that I want to live to 100. But
My grandma's 100. She's almost 100. She's doing fine.
I think I would want to say. Now, if I live 10 different lives, am I aware of the previous ones?
I said yes.
Let's say yes, just to make it better.
Oh, if I am, then I might try that. But if I'm not, then I'm going with the 1,000-year life one.
What's the benefit of remembering the previous lives?
The experiences, you don't have to start fresh again.
Hmm. You'd be the smartest person by the time you get to a certain point.
That's true. It's
Yeah.
true, man.
After that first life, if you remember the previous ones, I'm pretty sure, like, after that first life, you're pretty much set for the next 9.
Well,
Yeah, you'd be guaranteed success. I mean, you'd be a genius at such a young age in your second life.
You'd be the one who could write the book about what it's like to die. I mean,
Right, you'd know. You'd have 9 experiences before the last one.
yeah.
Although I guess when you get to the last one, you'd still wonder what it's going to be like after the last one.
Yeah, I feel like there'd be too much anticipation. The 1,000-year life, I think I'd like better. Would you rather be painfully brilliant or blissfully ignorant? Start with Mr. Williams. I'm going left to right across mine.
Man, I would. Oh man, this is a tough one, actually, because I would enjoy brilliance quite a bit because I love puzzle solving and I am kind of a nerd. But at the same time, blissfully ignorant does sound appealing. I think I'm going to go with blissfully ignorant on this one, just because sometimes to be so dumb and so ignorant of things that everything makes you happy and nothing ever bothers you sounds kind of nice.
Cole.
Definitely painful brilliance. I don't know. I could never. I don't know. Something about being ignorant, it just doesn't sound appealing to me. Even if I were to be happy, I don't know.
But you're happy, you don't care.
I know, but to consciously make the choice to be ignorant is just, I don't know, I just couldn't make it. I couldn't do it.
I know, because you have the choice right now to be ignorant. Honestly, everybody has the choice to just not do anything.
True. But most of us don't, because we want to, learn and, understand the world. Even if
a lot of us do it because we have some societal obligation that we have. In order to progress in our lives, we have to know stuff. We don't really have an option.
Right.
Whereas in the second scenario that he gave, that you're ignorant, you never had that in the first place. You didn't know you had it, so it wouldn't really matter as much. I wouldn't choose it. I would go with what Will said, but
No one's gonna make the painful decision.
I'm going with the same as Will.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You're all chicken.
Maybe. Maybe. I'd rather know stuff. Yeah. I'd rather know stuff. I don't care if it's the difference of that or not knowing what I'm missing. Um, I As a kid, there were things that I enjoyed, and as an adult, there are other things that I enjoy. The things that I enjoyed as a kid are still available to me, but I get a more full enjoyment, if that's the right way to describe that, um, out of things as an adult, which makes me think that, and that comes with its own stuff, whatever, but I didn't enjoy being a kid as much as I enjoy being an adult. But that might be situation specific too.
I was just thinking about it the other day. I was actually eating dinner with my family, and the subject of SpongeBob came up out of nowhere, and they're like, a lot of adults can actually appreciate that show because there are all these innuendos mixed in that you wouldn't get as a kid, but as an adult you understand what they mean. So even that, you more fully understand the entirety of it. Or like the fact that SpongeBob is a sponge and he reorganizes himself like sponge tissues do.
Yeah, it's fun. So
I still kind of think about, like, I mean, if you think about even like Stephen Hawking's background, he was brilliant, but he really didn't ever use it until he started to have physical problems, until he was kind of forced into a cage of brilliance. And I kind of think that there's something behind that as well. I mean, the reason I say blissfully ignorant is because you got people that have gifts that choose not to use them because sometimes it's just nice to not have any of those stresses. There's really a lot of it, I feel like, is just kind of more of a societal thing than it is anything else.
But I mean,
I feel like sometimes it's nice just to sit back and relax and not worry about anything. I mean, if you're blissfully ignorant, it's blissful, and there's nothing to worry about. I know this isn't as noble of a conquest as anybody else, anything like that. But I mean, there's something to be said about just being at peace with what you're doing. Where you're at.
But like Stephen Hawking, he's contributing so much to the world. Like if you could choose to contribute so much, like why not take it? I don't know. Like to me, like I'd love to take advantage of that, to have that brilliance, to be able to make all those discoveries and observations about the world and be able to contribute so much.
Comes down to what you think is valuable. If you think that your personal happiness is most valuable, you'd want to be blissfully ignorant. If you don't see that as being the most valuable thing, then you most likely wouldn't choose that because you think that your brilliance will contribute to society more than your being happy would benefit, or that the benefit that your being happy brings.
I mean,
measurably greater.
I've got like a few friends that are like in no offensive way, but blissfully ignorant, and I think they actually, I mean, they bring me some joy as well, because it's one of those things where sometimes seeing them at peace makes me at peace. So I feel like it's kind of that whole idea of, when you're around peaceful people, you become peaceful. And I think if there's too much focus on intelligence and contribution and that kind of competitive nature of the adding to society, and I feel like there's something to be added when somebody is just kind of enjoying where they're at, being that peaceful, blissful person.
When
Otherwise,
I'm around those people, they annoy me.
they annoy you.
Yeah,
The people that are just happy
yeah,
for no reason.
exactly.
And I think that might be the difference. I find some of those people incredibly enjoyable. Don't get me wrong. I find people that are brilliant like Guyton enjoyable as well. Although I think he's blissfully intelligent. I think so. There's kind of
I'm just a happy person.
see
And you're the best of both worlds.
right.
We'll see. No, I do have some discussion stuff for you. User, here's one that's a little more politically charged. User Asia, all lowercase, says, if men had babies, would abortion rates increase?
Hell yes.
That was a really quick answer.
And they'd be free.
Why?
Why? Because, look at who's running our country. Mostly men. I just wrote a paper about abortion over the summer for my English class, and, a lot of states, most of the conservative states, when it comes to abortion, their legislatures are made up predominantly of men. There's a, correlation between that. So, if you had men voting on, and if men got pregnant, you have men voting on these issues, so, abortion would be, far, more widely available, I think.
Well, I think there's also, if you're looking at it in a political way, how many women are voting for abortion versus like no abortion.
I'm saying now, keep in mind, no one votes for abortion.
Well, for the right to choose.
Big difference, though. You're
Right. So you're asking about specifically abortions going up.
yes.
Okay.
What do you think?
Wait, would women still get pregnant?
Yeah. Let's say
Because
either one can.
then
So
it
it's a
would make
50-50
sense that the
chance.
abortion rate would go up if both have the ability to get pregnant.
He means as a percentage of the population.
Okay. Yeah, but the percentage would still go up if both.
Well, let's say
Would the
now it's not a
percentage of men who
women.
got abortions be higher than the percentage of women who got abortions?
Probably because men never had to deal with that type of pain before on such a wide scale.
My wife makes a comment that strictly anatomically, the birthing process would lead to a yes.
Yeah.
Right.
At least I
Seriously?
understand. What?
Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit of a narrow passage. And
So on that note,
I think the more the question that I have is, how are men carrying it around?
Mm.
It's gonna be out there like.
It's out their leg.
That's-
It's putting
why
a
it's
really bad
hypothetical.
picture in my mind.
The other is just like carrying around like a balloon, like a water balloon tied to your waist. No,
Oh,
I mean
no,
like I mean like the hanging part, the hanging aspect, the water balloon, quote unquote.
beyond just the anatomical difference, I think it's just, at least culturally, there's a whole different mindset that has existed for men versus women going back centuries, that you have this society that focuses so heavily on women bearing children and men doing everything else because, at one point it was because everyone was like, oh, women are too weak, they can't do that. But
Sure.
now it's shifting more because people are realizing that women are people too, and but
Imagine that.
yeah.
See, all of my questions about this aren't even about abortion. They're like, how is the man getting pregnant? Like, I mean, what's going? I mean, like, when a man,
Yeah.
finishes, quote unquote. I don't know how appropriate we want to make this channel right now, but like, things are going out of someone into another. Is the process reversed? Osmosis? Is there a magic fairy that chooses? Is it like flipping a coin?
Who's getting pregnant this time? Nobody knows.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Julie, you need to be a part of this.
Yes.
Come sit next to me. You can be on my channel.
well, maybe we'll have her on next week. That'd be
Absolutely.
fun. I don't know. I didn't realize that more people didn't follow this user, but Jalapeno.
His polls are great.
I
Yeah,
don't follow him. I'll have to follow
Polls are
him.
great.
I was looking. I was trying to go down my user list. I'm trying to add people that have less followers. Like if I see question, I'll try and add people with fewer followers, and then go through and look at their polls first for this segment. Because I think it's more fun to get them from users that everyone isn't already following. But he's got like 100 and some odd followers, and I would have thought for sure he'd be like way more than I have. I don't know where I'm at right now, but way more than I have. You know what I mean? But either way, he
400 and
asks.
some.
I don't know. Either way, he asks,
Someone's
which
getting
is
arrested.
which is more in need of reform, campaign finance or the debate format? Yeah.
Campaign finance. Debate formats only affect the ones that don't take the time to actually learn their own material. Like, have their own opinions, understand their own issues.
I'm thinking the question was more focused on what presidential debates,
What was that?
more formal presidential debates.
Well,
yeah.
still, I mean, I think campaign financing does more than debates do to elect a president.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to the debates, most of the debates are just people that are literally flipping a coin at the end. Like they haven't decided yet.
Well, and I think that's part of it. I'm thinking about the newsroom. I don't know if you guys watched that at all, but where they want to, there's an episode or a span of episodes where they want to change the debate format completely and ask better questions and actually force candidates to answer these questions. And in that sense, if it was an actual overhaul, like actually holding people accountable and making them answer real questions, I think it would do a lot of good in thought. But that also runs on the assumption that people watch the debates, and I think the people that watch the debates are.
I also think that runs on the idea that the candidates are actually going to tell the truth when they're answering.
I think you could. I think you could probably force them to at least give a solid, concrete answer, which you could then hold them to later, or not, and it turns around on them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of candidates end up kind of slithering out of answers that they don't want to give, and then later down the line, like, well, I didn't really answer that question, so I'm not alienating my voter base. My voter base was just uninformed, which they were. I don't care who wins. The voter base is,
In most
by and
instances,
large, still pretty uninformed.
But I mean, how much can one candidate answer within an hour, 2 hour format?
If it has to be.
You know, Like if you're talking about getting the real issues, then I think that it more or less than from a debate. I think you're talking about like why not have them put all of their platforms out in a way that people can easily access and understand. I think that's more like getting their actual opinions out isn't necessarily through the debate. And I think still you'd have campaign like you're still going to have the campaign financing that's pushing one candidate versus another along the path to actually get to the debate. I think there's a lot that's fed through money, and I think that all of the opinions that they're getting may actually be affected by the money that they're getting from their campaign financing.
No doubt. No
And in
doubt.
most instances, the people who are watching the debates are people who would actually go and look up information. Well, I should probably take that back because watching the political things on Show of Hands last year, or 2012,
Close
Things
enough.
go fast.
laughable. But campaign finance affects a lot more people, and I think the bigger issue.
Yeah, I, I, I wish the debates mattered more than they do, but the people who are watching the debates are a small enough percentage that I think it wouldn't necessarily help too much. Um,
I think there's also something to be said that like the people that are watching the debates, if they're watching the debates to be informed, then that's different because I think a majority of the people that watch the debates are just watching the debates
because their friend on Facebook linked them to it.
right, or because they've already chosen their candidate and they just want to see if they're going to appear stronger than the other candidate. It's almost like a way for them to gauge whether or not they're going to gain enough, like have enough support by their presence. I feel like it's less about the actual issues and more about, I guess, pop culture.
Sure. Um, Same user, Jalapeno, who's very much worth a follow. I'll totally endorse. He says, would you be in favor of requiring from at least 2 courses in logic before university students can graduate?
Huh. That's a great
Yes.
question.
Does it? Is there a format to who's answering first?
That was odd. It blinked out for a minute.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you're in the chat twice now.
Yeah. Kyle, you're first. Do you want 2 courses in logic required for students?
Yes. I think that there are a lot of unnecessary and pretty arbitrary requirements that exist, at least for the courses I've had to take. And if nothing else, you could take away, let's say they're 3-credit classes, take away 2 3-credit elective requirements and make those into required. And have people take classes that they can actually apply for thinking beyond just having to recite information or having to do things a specific way.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of logic class are we talking about here?
The one that makes you think.
Yeah.
Well, technically, all classes are supposed to make you think.
They don't.
No, but like I feel like a verbal logic class, like something where you're like the initial logic classes that you might take, where you're getting if-then statements and the difference between an if-then or an if and only if, or examples of which. I think those are important, but then again, everybody goes, oh, they're so easy because I can read the book and just copy the answers. Like, just because they're taking the class doesn't mean they're actually going to learn anything. I think the more you require people to actually learn, the less likely they are to actually learn it.
And how about you, Cole? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Kyle. I was just looking at my courses for my degree like a few days ago, and I have to take so many classes that I have no interest in that are not related to my degree at all that just seem totally boring. And I think 2 logic classes would really, uh, you know, be beneficial to everybody. I mean, just in debate, if you look at show of hands, I mean, a lot of people use various fallacies and whatnot, and you know, we could get people to understand all these things. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, but I don't know.
The difference between a normal class and a logic class is pretty much a logic class is teaching you how to think, versus other classes are teaching you what to think and pretty much how to think it.
No, I took one logic class in undergrad, and it wasn't, we had like different sections that, different, I guess, themes that you could choose from, and that would fulfill a certain requirement, and it fell into one of the themes, so I ended up with it. And admittedly, the first maybe quarter of the class, I think the only thing that anyone got out of the class was trying to get the prof to mess up and talk about a single logical phallus. But after that, it got to be a good class. It was interesting and it was worthwhile, and of course it's going to depend on how it's taught and everything, but if it's taught any kind of if it were a widespread requirement, it would probably be forced to be taught better, or at least it would be, the school would have to focus on it a little bit, whether they chose to improve it or not. And I think it's definitely worth it to be able to give logical linear thought, to be able to do a simple cause and effect. I mean, I've done like a lot of computer programming and whatever, and physics and math and whatever, and there's a certain line of thinking that goes with that. But I think it is important to be able to see these things that, like you were saying, with some logical fallacies, where you can talk about if pillar A falls, then your whole premise doesn't fall necessarily, which is something that seems to happen a lot. And I think it would be worthwhile. There's enough stuff that they make you take that you could remove a handful of it and replace it with useful stuff.
But like I said, you don't even have to remove those requirements. That would be nice. You can take 6 credits per se from your elective requirements and just put them into the being required. But,
for my undergrad degree, the way it was set up at my school, you had to have, in general, 120 credits to graduate, but the physics major with its cognates, like the math classes you had to take as prereqs and whatever, when all was said and done, was more than 90 credits. And then the amount of electives you had to take was still significantly more than 30 credits, so it was, with that major, you couldn't do it in 120 credits. It was impossible.
I've got way more than 120 credits, and like I
graduated with my associates with 80.
Okay.
Pretty sure I completed my associates with 102.
That's impressive.
It's not impressive. It's just the way there's the nature of the beast, switching majors and from where I started. But the reason I did that though was to figure out what I actually wanted to do. Now, like whether or not things are actually required of me or not wasn't necessarily the issue. It was more or less I was trying to find out what it was that was interesting for me and that remained interesting for me as I was learning it. And I took a lot of logic classes. I took some philosophy classes. I took psychology. Like I'm a math major.
Why do you hate people?
And that's the thing. Here's the thing is that what most people don't understand is after a certain point, all math is logic. That's all I do is I write proofs, and proofs are just formal logic. And
Double
as
thumbs
this,
up on the math major.
Math is not logic.
well, I mean, it is. It is. That's all it is. It's
I'm
logical
just kidding.
statements.
I'm just kidding.
But like to require like just because you require people to take a logic class doesn't mean they're going to be logical or that they're going to learn the logic. I mean, there's a lot of things that are required for people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that logic classes are not good. Obviously, I have to say that because I'm a math major. If I didn't say that, it'd be kind of redundant. But like, it's one of those things of the more you require people to do, the less they pay attention to it because they just think it's something they have to get through. I think that if you can somehow make it an elective for somebody to do that in a degree where it's seen as, here, if you take these, this looks better on a record. Like, those are the classes that people usually take. When I was told it would look better for me to take certain classes in my major, those were the ones that I focused on, and I focused on making sure that I learned the material in those classes, because it was said that that's what you should focus on. I feel like requiring it isn't necessarily the problem. I think it's making an importance for people to learn it is the idea.
Yeah, I agree. But the people who would gain anything out of the class are the people who are going, and even this could be an inaccurate statement, they're generally the ones that are going to do well in it, whether it's required or whether it's an elective.
Yeah.
Granted, there are people who learn the material and get bad grades, but in general, the people who do well are the people who learned it and they're going to do it in neither situation. So
Right.
I think at least exposing more people to it to have that opportunity is.
I think if we could find a way to make it so that if you took a logic class, you would be logical, then that would be the best thing. You took a logic class, now you are logical.
It'd be great if we could do that with any class.
Uh,
If you take calculus, you'll know calculus. If you take French, you'll know French. That'd be great.
Right.
I don't know. I was gonna say language classes would take off.
Yeah, they would.
Seriously.
Like, there you go. Find a way to do that. Problem solved.
I think we are actually over time.
We started 10 minutes late, so I think we're good.
Okay, so we're at time. Again, trying to not let these things run too long. They do get boring if they drag on. So I will say thank you to the three of you for being on. This has been fun, and thank you to everyone who was watching. We did have a few throughout, and there are a couple that always say that they'll watch later. I have no idea if they do or not. I don't know how to check on that. I'm new to most of this stuff, and by the time I've got it figured out, Show of Hands on Air will probably be back. But in the meantime, this seems to be working out okay. So I will say that's it for this week. Thank you. And does anyone have anything they'd like to say before closing?
Actually, I still would like to say I think the random appearances of Julie, I think those may be a highlight and should be reoccurrences.
Definitely, that was fun.
Yeah, I'll talk to her and see if she wants to do it next week. She's marathon training, so she's running all the time right now.
That's so much work.
But
no, I said that's so much work.
it is a lot of work. But she was just getting home from a run, which is part of why she hadn't been on before. It was just a time conflict. So I will call that and say see you next week. Thanks for everyone, and goodbye.